Hey, everybody. Let's see. Oh, I didn't get the chat up. Oops. Let me get the chat going. Where is it? Where's the app? Chat app is not working. Hold on 1 second. Oh, there it goes. When in doubt, restart the app. Okay. Boom. There we go. Got the chat going. Excellent. Got anybody here? Okay. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully everybody is doing just dandy. There we go. Okay. Mr. Powers in the house. Oh, there we go. Now all of a sudden I got viewers. For some reason it was like stuck at 0. I'm like, well, that's unusual. Okay. There we go. Chat streaming in now. Bruno's in the house. David. Excellent. Mr. Scott Pam. Excellent. Loud and clear. Thank you. Make sure you guys can hear me. So today, as I said in the email and on the post on the community, I've just been noticing a trend of like a lot of people struggling with SEO and Total CMS. So I was like, you know what? I think it's a pretty simple topic, to be honest with you. But obviously that's me, it's easy. It's easy. Once you know, then you know, but it's very easy to take for granted knowledge sometimes, right? Where I'm like, what? How can you not understand that? What is so is simple, but yeah. So I thought it would be a good time to kind of go through. Hey, Franco, how's it going today? I thought it'd be a good time to go through, a little bit. We'll start from the basics of just some, these are the SEO tags that we're going to be targeting today and looking at. Obviously, SEO is a huge, topic. Okay. And I know we have done live streams about SEO in the past. Where I've done a couple really actually in-depth ones on technical SEO. So make sure you look at that. Today I'm gonna go over like the raw basics and then how we manage it with Total CMS. Okay. So let's share my screen. Voila. And let's get my little cursor doodad going because I know you guys like that. Okay. So here we are on, this is my sandbox project. It's just my kind of like my playground project. Let's have a gander. We're going to start off actually with, I know a lot of you that are here probably have SEO Helper. We're going to look at that. But I wanted to start off with, many of you might not know, inside the starter pack, there is a free SEO basics stack. Okay. It is the basics, okay? But it does everything that you probably need. It's not much here, but it covers a lot of ground, right? Okay. So, and I do recommend actually, because I know we're all waiting for Stacks Pro, and you're probably thinking, am I gonna, how am I gonna migrate everything over from, the existing Stacks Classic to, the Stacks plugin to Stacks Pro? And if you're using RapidWeaver for managing some of your SEO tags and stuff like that, where is it here? See, I don't even remember where the tab is because I never use it. You can manage some of this stuff. You don't have a lot of control over it with RapidWeaver. Okay. So I recommend you just disable everything in here. Okay. Even go into, where is it? General or advanced? Where is it? Yeah. Where is the generate social link stuff? Isn't it here? Oh, here in general settings, you generate social tags, turn that off. Okay. And then turn off the stuff inside, the meta tags, tab in the inspector, because we're going all in with stacks. We're going to manage it with our stacks. And then if you do it that way, then when we're migrating into Stacks Pro, you'll have 0 issues. Okay. That's the same true if you're using SEO Helper. We're going to use SEO Helper most of today. But I thought I'd start off with the SEO basics from the starter pack, since that has the basics. Pretty much it has everything we're going to be looking at today. Okay. So, what are these tags and what are they used for? Okay. First off is the robots meta tag. And what that does is that tells robots, aka search engines, okay, whether or not to index this particular web page. Okay. And so most of the time you're going to want that, right? And you could turn that off here in the settings. Okay. But yeah, most of the time, if you want to have a search engine index a page, it will index by default. Okay. It's good to have it there kind of by default, I think. But if you definitely don't want a particular page indexed, then make sure you set off the index this particular page and whether or not you want it to follow the links on the page, right? So those are 2 separate options. Do you want it to index a page, and do you want it to follow the links that are on this page? Okay. Next up is the description. And this is used for primarily in search engines when a web page comes up in search results. This is the small blurb of text that shows up there. Okay. It's used in a couple other locations, around the web, because it is a common tag. So a lot of services will, if they're scraping a web page for some other reason, they could use this as the description. But the primary purpose here is the description of the web page inside your search engines in the search results. And primarily, I think it's like 160 characters. You want to keep this no longer than 160. You can have it longer, but essentially it just gets cut off at 160 characters. So there you go. Next up are, you'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 tags here that all start with this OG colon. And these are what are called Open Graph meta tags. Okay. Now, Open Graph, there are more types of Open Graph meta tags, but these are the ones that are important. Okay. And Open Graph is actually a standard developed by Facebook, actually. If we go to Open OPG, I can never remember the URL. Let's just search for Open Graph. There it is. OPG.OGP. There we go. I knew it was a 3-letter acronym for the domain. Okay. It was a protocol started by Facebook. I think it's still that technically it's maintained by them, but it is kind of an open protocol that everything has pretty much inherited. Even if down to your iPhone, if you've noticed now, if you text a link to somebody, it doesn't just have a link. It actually shows up as like a little preview. Okay. That preview data in messages, it's all Open Graph data. Okay. On the Weaverspace community, when you post a link and then you get like a nice preview of that link, Open Graph data. Okay. So, that data has literally become a standard. It started off as just a Facebook thing, but it definitely grew to a definite standard that is used across the web for sharing information. Okay. If you want it, you can dive in. There's, as I say, SEO Helper supports most of this. Okay. There might be some new things I don't. That's why I say most. To my knowledge, it supports all of it, but yeah. Look like they have some new music ones that SEO Helper doesn't have yet. So maybe I should look at that for the next version of SEO Helper. Okay, but here, let's just close that out. Okay, so what are these Open Graph tags? What are the ones that we definitely need on every web page? First is type. Now this is going to be a website, right? So this is a web page. So type of website. Then you're going to have OG title. This is going to be the title of your web page. Right. So when that little share box comes up, whether or not it's on Facebook or messages or the community or any other website where you're sharing a URL, this is going to be the title that's used. Next is going to be a URL to an image. As you know, when you share those things, it does come up with an image. And so if we want to display that image, we need to have the URL to the image. Now, this has to be a full URL. So you have to warehouse this, or as we see later on, we can utilize images inside Total CMS. Okay, but this needs to be a URL to an actual image that will basically, depict the information on this web page. Now, you can use the same images across multiple web pages. That's fine if you want. If you can put the effort in, I think it will be beneficial to have different images for different web pages. Okay. Before I get down into that tangent, the last one is OG description. Okay. Now, technically, this could be the same exact description that you have in the description meta tag. That's why even in this SEO basics, you just type your description once and it uses it for both. Okay. So, okay. SEO is a lot of work. Okay. And I say that because all of this information should be unique for every single web page that you have on your website. You don't want to stuff this inside of a partial and then add it to every single web page so that every single web page has the same title, same description. No. Okay. SEO is a lot of work, and you will get paid dividends in it, right? With better SEO juice, right? And it's nice when someone shares the URL that they get something specific for that particular web page. So, you should really have unique titles, unique descriptions, preferably a unique image. I think that would be nice, but I'll admit, not even I do that. Okay, I do have a common image, and then for particular web pages, I'll maybe overwrite it, and I'll have specific images for specific pages. For example, on Weaverspace, on my main web page, I do have a generic Weaverspace share image. I'll be honest, I have to update it. It's not really relevant to the design of Weaverspace now. It's something that I designed, I thought was cool a while ago, and it's just kind of been there. Okay. But if you share any of my product pages, you'll notice that I have a unique image for every single product, so that when you share the image to that product, you get that image. Okay. And so if you're using something like Total CMS, you're going to want to make sure that every single blog post has a unique image. Okay. And we'll show you how you can do that. All right. Any questions on these basics, on these basic meta tags? I think we're probably pretty good to go on these, right? Okay. Just for fun, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to chuck on SEO helper on the page. SEO meta tags. Boop. Okay. And if you look in SEO helper, the default meta tag here is called SEO basics. And guess what? It's very similar. It has a few other things that the starter pack doesn't have. Okay. It has a canonical URL, which is nice. Let me explain what a canonical URL, because actually I think that causes some confusion. Okay. And especially with this particular stack on a Total CMS blog post page. Okay. Which I'm foreshadowing a little bit of discussion here. Okay. But what is a canonical URL? That is the one meta tag here. Let's see. Are there any others? Title, image, URL, description. Okay. I do have OG URL here as well, which essentially is the same thing as a canonical URL. But it's the open graph version of that. Okay. Okay. So what is a canonical URL? Let's go to, let me bring up a web page here. I'm just going to bring up this, let's go to, what I have, hold on, let me verify that URL 1 second. Was it, blog test. Okay. There we go. Okay. So here is just a small little demo blog, right, that I use for testing purposes. Okay. And hilarious, whoever created this photo. I think it was Erwin. Erwin, are you here? I think Erwin created this photo of me. Pretty funny. Okay. So as you know, let's say I'm currently on a blog list page. Okay. Luckily enough, this actually has some filtering built in. Okay. So let's say I want to filter by category 1. Okay. Now that filtered my blog posts. Cool. Okay. Let's look at the URL now. Okay. So if we look at the URL is now blog-test, and then has a question mark category equals cat1. Okay. This to Google is technically a different web page. Okay. To us, it's the same web page. However, it's just filtered by a category. Does that make sense? Okay. So what the canonical URL is, let me jump back to here. So what a canonical URL is, it is the web page that the search engines that you're like, hey, I know it doesn't matter what Mr. Search Engine, it doesn't matter what URL you think you're at. This is the URL that is the main URL of this particular web page. Hopefully that makes sense. So, for example, on this blog list that I just filtered out, okay? Now, maybe you want Google to be able to index filters and searches. Most of the time you don't, okay? But let's say you did, then essentially every single URL you might want to have different, right? You possibly, want to let Google think that it's different web pages, okay? But I think in most cases for a blog list, you're going to want the filters, okay, to not be indexed. So in this particular case, I would set a canonical URL on this web page to be the URL without any filters applied to it. That way, if Google, maybe you're linking to a filtered version of this page on a different web page, and Google follows that, it's going to know, hey, okay, I visited this blog list page. Now, it told me to add this category filter to the end of the URL, but the canonical URL that's in the head, okay, in the SEO meta tags, it's telling me that the main URL is this, right? That way, Google knows, hey, even if Google were to see category equals cat1, category equals cat2, tag equals whatever, it doesn't matter what filters, Google knows that it is all the same web page. Hopefully, does that make sense? Please let me know in the chat if that makes sense to you. Okay. I know that it's the canonical URL is kind of a confusing thing to a lot of people because they don't understand what it is. Again, it is purely telling Google or any search engine what the exact URL to this web page is. It doesn't matter what else is added to the end of the URL. Maybe you're using agent and you're adding some stuff to the URL to do various things on the web page. Yeah, it is the URL to the web page that Google needs to index, period. Okay. Let's share again. Okay, that's this particular project. So in this case, if I were to add an SEO meta tags onto here, right? Now in this stack, okay, there is a auto detect URL page. Most of the time, that is going to be exactly what you want, because what this will do is it'll calculate the URL of this web page, okay, based on the settings on the page. So it'll be /blog test /index.php, right? Actually, if it's indexed, it's smart. It doesn't add that. Okay. But anyway, so yeah. But if you turn that off, you'll notice that you can actually explicitly call out a URL as well. Okay. And this will be required later on when we dive into Total CMS. Okay. Okay. Clear so far. Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead. I'm actually going to, on this particular web page here, let's go ahead and fill this out. Okay, I'm just going to fill in some dummy data. Okay, I'm just going to do my blog list. Okay. I'm I don't have a URL. I don't think I have a URL here. Let's just go ahead and do, let me go to website testing preview, resources. Maybe, do I have a, oh, here, maybe I have a resource in here. Do I have, oh, look, I have images in here. Okay. So here, let's just do, here, let's do this one. Okay. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say copy URL. Okay. And we're going to paste that in there. And is that correct? That is correct. Cool. Okay. So there's my image URL. Okay. And let's just put in some text here. You know, I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to put in some lorem text. Okay. Wow, that is a lot. I told you we don't want that much. 160 characters. All right, let's go shorten that up a bit. All right, there we go. I have my page description. Okay, I'm going to auto detect URL. That's perfect for me. And I want to index and I want to follow links. Now, meta values, it's currently set to user defined. All right, we're going to leave it like that for now. Okay, and let's go ahead and publish this page. Actually, let me go ahead and make sure that I turn that off. Perfect. Now let's publish that again. All right, let's refresh this page. Oh, I don't want any categories. All right. So now we're on this web page, and let's look. If you didn't know where all the meta tags, let's show you where all these meta tags live. Obviously, they're not something visible that's on the page. It's like invisible data in the web page. Let's just make this bigger. I don't need that for now. So everything is stored in something called the page head. Okay, you've probably heard it, that term said before, and that is inside of every HTML page, there is going to be a head, and inside there has all kinds of non-content data. It's all data about the web page. It's all it's meta tags. It loads CSS files. It has all kinds of stuff. Okay, and this is where your SEO meta tags will live. Okay, so if we notice here, here I have the robots meta tag. I have my description meta tag. And here is all of those OG meta tags that we added inside of SEO helper. Okay. And you'll notice that this is the URL to the image. Now, again, this URL to this image needs to work, right? So if you were to paste that URL in the browser, it should resolve an image. Okay, and that does. So cool. Very good. Here's my description. Here's my OG URL. Okay. If you look OG URL and canonical URL, they're set to be the same thing. Okay. Again, OG URL is just the same thing as a canonical URL. It's just for the Open Graph world. Okay. Canonical is for search engines. OG tags for search or social networks and websites and all that stuff. Okay. So what is this data? It is preview.joeworkman.net/blog test. And if we look at the URL of this web page, that's exactly what the URL is. Okay. Now, if I go to, let's sort by something, right? So here I'm sorting by category 1, or let's do tags of database, right? If you look at my URL here, we have blog test tag equals database. But if we look inside the head, okay, my canonical URL is still set to just be blog test. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Now, let's start diving into Total CMS a little bit. And what we can do with Total CMS and SEO. So first off, let me back up a little bit and let's think about what is Total CMS. Okay. What does it do? How does it work? Okay. And it's very, very simple. Okay. I know some people think they hear the term macro and they hear all these things and then they're pulling their hair out if you have any, and then, you know, your head explodes. Okay. So let's break down Total CMS into essentially like the basics of what it does. Okay. And, So here's an HTML page. This is the same page we've been looking at, right? And what is a web page? It's a bunch of text. That's literally, I mean, the source code of this web page is a bunch of text. Okay? This is what the browser reads. Okay? And then it has a bunch of little things like these little tags that mean special things to the browser, and then the browser will do stuff. Okay? But for all intents and purposes, a web page is a text document. You could open this web page up inside TextEdit, the most basic text editor on all of our Macs, and you can change it. Okay? So, for example, let's say this description, here's the description meta tag right here. Okay? Right? Let's say I wanted to manage this description with Total CMS. How does Total CMS get that into the document? Okay. Well, let's do that really, really quick. Okay. Now I don't have like all of this set up. Maybe I should have done that, but here, well, I will do one very simple little thing. Okay. Bear with me while I take 2 seconds just to add in a text field. Okay. So let's implement something with Total CMS. So I am just going to go into, oops, I don't want Total CMS 3. I want version, there it is. All right. So in admin, I'm just going to add a text box in here. Okay. I'm going to add it below this blog list. Okay. And let's just call this description. I'm just going to call it description. Okay. And we're going to make it a plain text editor. And yeah, we're good. Okay. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to call it description. Okay. And let's go ahead and publish that. Okay. And I don't remember the URL I set to this page. Oh, blog test admin. Okay. So we're going to go off into, all right. So in here, I didn't add any margin, but whatever. I have a text box in here, and we're going to add a little bit of text. Actually, let's type something in so it's different than Lorem Ipsum. Hello, live stream. I hope you are learning something today. Okay. So here I typed that into Total CMS, and I'm saving it. Okay. It's saved. Okay. So I saved this bit of text into Total CMS. You don't need to know how it does it or what it did. I saved a bit of text into Total CMS. Okay. Now let's go back to the page I was on, which was this particular one. Now I want to get that text that I saved into Total CMS, okay, into here. Right? Into here. So how can we do that? So we have these scary things called macros. Okay. And it just allows you to get the text from or content of from Total CMS and put it where I would have typed the text on my web page. Okay. So I'm going to use something called %CMS CMS data. And then we called that text, if you remember, I gave it a name of description. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say description, if I can type that correct. Yes, I did. Okay. So there it is. There is the scary macro. Okay. Oh, no, I'm not sharing. Thanks. My dad just texted me. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Hate when I do that. Okay. Thanks, Dad. All right, really quick. I just went into the admin page here. I added a text box down here. I gave it a name of description, and I published. I went online to that text box that I just published, and I saved it. Okay, just see here. I can put 2 more exclamation points, and I saved it. Okay. Then now I'm back into, let's Command Z out of that. Okay, so now I'm back here. Okay, so I just saved this bit of text into Total CMS. Actually, you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to completely redo that. All of it. All right. I'm going to delete this. All right. I'm going to save it. All right. And then, yeah, let's just pretend it didn't exist. I'm going to add that back there. Okay. I want to add some margin because let's just do MT32. Okay. Sweet. And I'm going to give this text box a name, and we're going to give it a description name. Description. Okay. And then we're going to publish. There we go. Now I have my text box. Oh, I made it style text. I just want it plain text. We just want plain text. I don't need, that's actually a good thing. If you're doing SEO, okay, you do not want style text. Okay. Man, everyone's blowing me up now. You do not want style text because style text produces HTML. Let me just turn on Do Not Disturb now. Okay. And we don't want HTML inside of our meta tag. We want plain text. Okay. So I'm going to change this to be from style text to text markdown. I'll turn off the markdown formatting. It doesn't really matter. And let's publish that again. All right. So now I have my plain text box. Oops, I thought I called it description. Description. Oh, I must have spelled it wrong before. Description. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I must have spelled it wrong before. Let's just type this again. Hello, everyone. I hope you are learning something new. Okay. And save. Done. All right. So I saved that text. Then we're going back, and I want to take that text that I just saved, and I want to inject it right here. Instead of me typing that text here, I saved it into the CMS. So how do I get that data from the CMS and add it into this description? Okay. CMS has these scary things called macros. And I'm going to add one in right now. I'm going to do % CMS data, and then description. Okay. There we go. There is the scary macro. CMS data description, because that is the ID. That's the name that I gave that bit of text. Okay. Let's go ahead and publish that now. And let's go back to blog content. Now, if we look in the page head here, I should see, boom, in my description, I see, hello, everyone. I hope you are learning something new. Okay. Now that's what the browser sees. Let's really quick. Let's go into, all this is on my local machine, right? So let's just go let's look at this. So here's my index.php page. Okay. And let's open it in a text editor just so you guys can see. Hopefully I'm not going to scare anybody here. Okay. Just remember, this is just a text document. It's nothing scary. Okay. Where is it? Oh, that's not, I didn't do it on that page. It's on a different page. I did it in, it was blog test index. Okay, boom. If you see here, so this is all the meta tags from SEO Helper, okay? And there it is. It does not have anything there on publish. This is on our server. It has this little macro, okay? Now, you don't need to know how it all happens, but once you visit that web page in the browser, what Total CMS does is it takes the text that you typed and saved into the CMS, and it replaces that macro with the actual content. Done. Okay. Now, if let's say you can add stuff to this. You could be like, hello world. Okay. I can mix and match, right? So you can put in some static content. It's only going to replace where that macro is with the content, right? So let's go ahead and here, let's publish that again. Let's publish, just so you can see. Again, I added in a little bit of static text, and you can combine your own content with the content from CMS. Okay. Hello world. Hello everyone. I hope you're learning something new. Okay, see that right there. Okay. I haven't shown anything earth-shattering yet. I think most people that have a little bit of experience with Total CMS, that is nothing new. Okay. But I just want to kind of show you the raw basics of what Total CMS is doing. Okay. Now, there is a setting here that trips some people up. Okay. Inside SEO Helper, there is a thing called Meta Values Total CMS. Okay. And what this does, in hindsight, I'll be honest, I probably shouldn't have added this feature. Okay. Because it is confusing. What this does is it assumes that all the text that you type in here is going to be stored in Total CMS. So, and what you don't need to put in the macros, you only need to put the CMS IDs. So here you would put in description, and then but you also have to put something in here. You'd have to put image, and then that would have to be something that's stored in Total CMS, and this would have to be title. Okay, I'll admit this is confusing. Okay, the next version of SEO Helper that will come after Stacks Pro is shipped. Okay, this feature isn't going to be gone. I would recommend just stick with user defined. Okay, and just do it how I did it before with the macros. Oh, interesting. It doesn't undo. It didn't undo my typing here. Whatever. Okay, you guys knew it was there before. Interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay. So yeah, just stick with the macros, keep this at user defined. Okay. And we're good to go. Okay. Cool. If you wanted to, you can also do, an image managed with image URL. Okay. Yeah, let's quickly do that too for fun. Okay. So I showed you how to manage a bit of text. Okay. We can do the same thing for title. Won't worry about that right now. Okay. Let's go into here. I'm going to add in, so that was description. Okay. I need to add here. Let's add in another bit of text. Actually, let's just do this. Copy paste. So this one, we're going to make this one, title. Okay. And I just want this one line. Okay. And then we're going to want an image. All right. And let's just call this SEO image. How about that? Oops. SEO image. Okay. Now, I'll be honest. What you're probably going to want to do is, instead of using very generic names like I'm doing here, like title and description and, let's just say image. Okay. You're probably going to want to do like, home dash title, if it's the home page, right? Home dash description and stuff like that. Okay. So make sure that your CMS IDs are descriptive and specific. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. So here I'm just going to do a CMS ID of image, and yeah, we'll keep the defaults is fine. And let's go ahead and publish that. All right. So here we're just going to say live stream page title. Okay. Let's save that. And then I'm just going to drag and drop an image in. Voila. So I've saved, I now have a title, a description, and an image. Okay. So how do we get all of that data into SEO Helper? Okay. By the way, I'm using SEO Helper here. Same exact concepts are in the starter pack SEO basic stack. Just use the macros. Okay. So yeah, we're going to, let's see, that was CMS data description. Up here, the title, since I added that, let's go ahead and do title there. Okay, now, image URL. How do we get that? Okay, so to get into there, let's just quickly, I have a CMS core somewhere on this page, but I'm just going to go ahead and cheat here. So in the CMS core stack, these are all the various macros that you can use. Okay, and you'll notice that these are Total CMS path macros here at the bottom. So what this is going to do is it's going to resolve the path to an image. Okay, now here we want this CMS image, and it's going to resolve a JPEG. So I would do CMS image and then my CMS ID %. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to do %CMS image, and my CMS ID was just image. Okay, so there we go. Now, I know this is going to break, but let's publish it and you'll see what's going to happen. Bruno, we're going to get to blog in a little bit. Blog will be next. It's going to be where we wrap up. All right. So again, we're on this page, and let's go to my page head. So here's my title. I think that makes perfect sense. Here's the image, okay, and then my description. Now, what's wrong with this image? If you'll notice, it doesn't have the URL. Okay, it just has the path to the image. That won't be enough. This must be a full URL to an image. Remember, I said if you copy and paste what the content here, it needs to resolve an image if you paste this into a new browser window. Okay, so there's two things that we can do. Up here, I can just go ahead and do, I can type in my domain. So I could be like https://preview.joeworkman.net. Okay, so I can do that. So let's publish that. So again, inside here, I did my domain, and then was the macro. All right, and let's look at the results of that. So there we go. Here's the results. I have preview.joeworkman.net/cms data/image/image.jpg. All right, let's copy that. And remember, if I were to open up a new tab with the URL to that image, it should work, and it does. Now, from now on, I can re-upload a new, if I want to update this image, I just re-upload a new one into Total CMS, and this magically changes. I don't need to do anything. Okay, pretty cool. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that, you are going to publish this particular site to, let's say, a test subdomain before you ultimately get it on a production domain after you're done. And normally it would be nice if you could just set the domain inside your project. Okay, and then not have to worry about any other URLs throughout your entire project. Okay, so what we can do is, instead of putting in preview.joeworkman.net, what I can do is, this is a RapidWeaver specific URL. Okay, I can do %base_URL %. Okay, so there we go, base URL %, and then my macro. So now I have two. I'm using two macros. I'm using one that's in RapidWeaver. It's actually from the RapidWeaver theme API. Okay. And then after that, I'm putting in the CMS image. All right. So now if I were to publish that, okay, what you'll notice is I now have the URL, just as we had before. Okay. One little caveat. Okay. I'm not sure. I know we're currently in limbo between RapidWeaver and Stacks Pro, and I did say that this base URL macro is a RapidWeaver macro. It is. Okay. There currently isn't a macro that you as a user can use to access that data in Stacks. However, I do feel that it's something that is high on my priority list to get added to Stacks Pro, because I know a lot of power users do leverage that. Okay. So yeah, it probably will change for Stacks Pro. Again, this base URL % thing is a RapidWeaver thing. Okay. So yeah, and there currently isn't a version that I can teach you right now in Stacks Pro. But I do think that we will have something like that eventually. Okay. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully, let me see if there's any questions. Can we treat, let's see, blog. Does the open graph image need to be a specific file type? I think JPEG. Okay. So yeah, JPEG, I mean, it doesn't have to be I think PNG will work as well. And does it have to be a specific aspect ratio? No. Facebook wants if you want an image to not be cropped when it's posted to Facebook, they have a preferred aspect ratio. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Okay. He put 1.9 to 1. That could be true. I don't know what that aspect ratio is. However, all across the web, it's all kinds of stuff. Some use square images. When it looks at your OG, it'll like crop it and it'll put a square version. There is no real way to control what a service does with your particular image. I personally put in 1080p images. Okay, so all like when I share my product images on Weaverspace, they're all 1920 by 1080p. Okay, so 1920 by 1080. It's just that way I can use that. I can leverage that same image for, thumbnails on videos, I use it for social sharing. I use it for all kinds of stuff, right? It's just a very common size. And when that image is shared on Facebook, I mean, Facebook does crop a little bit of the outside to get it to fit into their little share thing that they want. But it still looks good. Okay. So yeah, I personally use, again, 1920 by 1080. That's what the share images that I use. And I notice that every now and then, like even on the, I think it's on the community, it'll do a square crop. And sometimes some images don't look great square cropped, but you can't currently supply multiple, images. Like, you don't know what a particular website's going to do with your image if they want to implement it some other way, right? So you just have to supply something. Now, what I do try to do is when I create my product social sharing images, I try to think at least about that situation where something's cropping it. Normally when it's cropped, it crops off to the side, okay? And so I try to make it so the focal point and most of the data that I want to portray is in the middle of the image, okay? So that if it does get cropped, it's still usable. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, good question. Thank you. When you have used base URL, you got the double. Oh yes, that is true, Stephen. I didn't notice that, but that is true. When you use the base URL with the macro, it will get a double. Yeah, it does. However, actually, browsers work pretty well with double slashes. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. So if I'm gonna type that in with a double slash, and it still resolves. Okay. Yeah. It technically is an extra slash, but it does work. Okay. I I personally would just probably type in my domain in here. That's how I would probably do it. Hopefully, we'll see what Stacks Pro in terms of macros, what it has for us. Hopefully we have a little bit of control over there. Okay. Cool. And obviously, actually, with Total CMS 3, we have all kinds of cool stuff we could do. But anyway, I guess another option would be you can actually, I know some users do this as well. Okay. Is they have another text area that is like, that stores the website URL in Total CMS, right? So imagine this was just, right? This, this field here was website URL, and you just stored in your URL. Okay. And at that point, you could then put in a Total CMS macro here that would then store, it'll populate the URL of the domain and then your URL image. Okay. So there we go. Okay. I think we answered all those questions. Let's dive into blog now. Okay. So, with blog, the important thing is the blog post page. All right. Let's go ahead and just click into a blog post. So, let's look at, now this page doesn't have any SEO on it. Again, this is just my test site. So let's add it. Actually, let's add a new one on a page. And I just noticed the time, man, I talk a lot. Jesus, I talk a lot. Okay. So here we have a default meta tags. Okay. Now, tell you right off the bat, I know a lot of people will publish this with this auto detect, this canonical URL on a blog post page, and this is going to break your social sharing. 100%. Right? I see it all the time. How do I know I know for a fact just by seeing when someone shares a link. Let's see if I can find one. I don't want to call someone out, but let's go find one on the community. Okay. Actually, it was it might be fixed now because I think he fixed it, but let's see if it's still there, because sometimes this community posts caches stuff. So we're gonna pick on Chris really quick, because I know he'll take it like a champ on the chin. Okay. He posted a link to, where is it? He fixed it. All right. He did fix it. You fixed it, Chris. All right. Hold on. Let me bring up, hold on 1 second. I think I sent him a screenshot of it. 1 second, Chris. Boom. All right. How can I save image? Where does it save it? Save it to downloads. Thank you. All right. All right. Boom. All right. This is kind of tiny. It's not the best of screenshots. Right. But, and actually this isn't the exact thing that I was thinking of, actually. What you'll notice here is it says blog title, right? It has the macro. Actually, no, this is the problem. Okay. It has the title. Instead of actually displaying the title of his blog post, I see the CMS macro. Now, why would that be? Okay. And let me show you exactly why that is. I'm going to show you this other image. Sorry if I'm abusing you, Chris. Okay. All right, let's go to, this is on Stacks Guru. Okay. Let's go to Stacks Guru really quick. So, the OG URL, his canonical URL, is what was hurting him here. Okay. And that's because he had it set to auto detect, I think. Okay. Let's go to Stacks Guru really quick. Stacksguru.com. Okay. And let's just pick a video. All right. So here's a video. Okay. And let's look at the URL. Okay. The URL here is, The URL is stacksguru.com/ and then the permalink. Okay. So if you look, when he shared, he didn't share this particular one, he shared a different one, but it's fine. It's the same concept. If you notice, the OG URL here is not the URL of the web page. All right. Let's see if Chris has fixed it. Okay. If we look here, the OG URL now on this web page is stacksguru.com/ and then pop-up caption, blah, 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 right? The actual URL. Okay. However, if you notice, if we go to post.php, all right, if you notice this web page, there's nothing, right? And this is stacksguru.com/post.php. What is this web page? Okay. And if we look at the meta tags for this web page, look, title is blog title, right? If we go and find any of the other, I'm not sure where the other OG URL stuff is, but anyway, there's blog title, right? Not there, right? Because this page, okay, let's talk about how blog works. Okay. So now that I've kind of stated the problem, all right, let's go ahead and close that out. And thank you for being an example, Chris. I appreciate that. So here on this particular project, I have, if we look at the path, this is blog test post.php. This is the blog post page. Okay. It is, let's go to this particular demo site, right? This is, if I click on this web page, I get this blog post. This blog post is this web page, right? However, if we look at the URL here, it passes a permalink. Okay, if I delete this permalink from the URL, I just have a blank page because I didn't tell Total CMS what blog post to load. Therefore, it just gives me nothing, right? Because I didn't give it anything. Hopefully this makes sense. If what I'm saying needs further clarification, please let me know in the chat. So basically, I need to be able to pass the blog post permalink to the URL in order for this to all work, right? So now that we know the problem, what's the solution? Okay, so the problem is, did I publish this? I did not publish. Let's publish SEO helper to this page with just all the default information. It's fine. All right, done. All right, so I'm going to refresh. Let's look at the web page. All right, if you look here, where is the heck? Where is it? Wait, did I not? What the heck? That's weird. Just pop it there. What? What's going on here? I don't know. My meta tags are popping up. What's going on here? What did I do wrong? Blog test. Post it to localhost. Oh shit. I'm on a different wrong domain. Sorry. How did I do that? That's weird. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Now I'm on the correct. Oh. How come oh, when I click, oh, my blog post URL. That's funny. That is funny. Okay. Sorry. I copied the CMS data from my different domain to this domain, and hold on, let me fix that really quick. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to fix it. Actually, if I preview this. let's just fix it locally. Website testing, preview, CMS data, blog, I think. And I want base URL. Open with. Oh, set to that. What the heck? Is this not blog? Man, what did I do here? Blog test. Did I mess up something here? It's not a custom post URL. I think the problem is I'm publishing this same project to multiple locations. I've never had that issue before. Very interesting. Whatever. We're just going to click through into it. All right. And we're going to just do set a live debugging and just fix it. Preview. Boom. All right. Here is the web page locally. And if we look at the head, okay, we will see that here. OG URL and a canonical URL. Okay. If you notice, these are set to be preview.joework.net/blog test/post.php. And that is not the URL to this web page. Right? The URL to this web page has a permalink and all kinds of stuff, right, added to it. So what's going on here? And if I visit this URL, right, it'll be like what we saw before. Right? Be nothing. And if we look at the meta tags there, okay, well, we're not injecting any of the meta tags from Total CMS yet, right? But it has all the default stuff, right? So it has nothing specific, okay? So like what's happening is if I share this particular blog post to any social service, even though I shared this URL, because the meta tag here says use this URL instead, it's going to get all of the data from this URL to create the share data. That's why in the screenshots I showed you of Chris's stuff, it said like, it showed the CMS macros. Okay, because this URL was not correct. So how do we fix it? There's two things to fix. Two things we can fix, actually. First off, actually, I'm going to actually turn off SEO helper. Okay, and one thing you can do for basic stuff is in the blog post stack itself, you'll notice here that we can actually add description, Facebook. We can add all the various metadata directly from the blog post stack. Okay. So here I would add like, Joe Workman. Okay. Actually Google Plus is kind of a dead network. You probably don't even need that. You can add it though. It doesn't hurt, but all right, let's publish that. Okay. Let's refresh this page. Okay. And if we refresh, let's find it. Here it is. So here we see that we have the description, we have the URL, we have the type, the title, description. What's cool is it actually automatically gets the image from the blog post and puts it in there. Okay. And all the other, there's Twitter and all kinds of other stuff, right? But as you see, the blog post stack does everything for us. We don't actually even need SEO helper or the other SEO basic stack at all. Because yeah, if you're good with just, it takes the summary from the description. It takes the summary from your blog post, adds that as the description. It takes the image from the blog, puts that as the share image. It obviously takes the blog post title and puts that as the title, right? And we're done, right? And it does that for all the various social networks. So the simplest way for a blog post page is just to check all these little buttons and you're done. All right. But let's say you wanted to be like super stringent and you wanted to, have more control over what Total CMS does for you out of the box. Okay. So let's do the SEO helper way as well. So again, blog has macros. Okay. They're different than the other macros. And if you go to the blog post stack, okay, and you go to this little doodad down here, you can do blog macro hints. And there's all the various macros that we can do to inject data into SEO Helper or anywhere on the web page, actually, right? So if we see here, there's blog title. There's also blog title strip HTML, because let's say you add HTML to the title possibly, and you want to make sure that that gets stripped. Another thing is summary, right? If you're using Hipwig or style text, remember I said earlier, you don't want to use that for SEO stuff. Okay, so we have a macro that will actually strip the HTML from the summary, so that we can inject that into our description if you're using a style text area. If you're just using plain text, then you could just use blog summary right here. Okay. And the image path stuff, you'll see that there's blog image. There's all kinds of stuff. If you want to do the first image from a gallery, you can do that as well, right? So there's all kinds of image path macros. So in here, what we're going to do is for title, I would do %blog title. Okay. And then for description, I'm going to do %blog summary. I don't think I'm using Hipwig for this test blog, but if you were, you would just put blog strip HTML, right? So blog, here I'll even do it. Blog summary strip HTML. So it would be strip HTML. Oops, if I can type HTML. Right? And then the image URL. So I'm going to use the blog image. So we're just going to do blog image. Okay, so we're going to do, now I do need to do the, let's say if I have this. All right, then so I'm going to do preview.joeworker.net %blog image parentheses %. So that will, the image URL will now resolve the URL to the blog image. Now, we're going to want to turn off auto detect URL because it doesn't work for blog posts. We need to make sure, we need to take the permalink of the post or the post that's getting loaded into account, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do preview.joeworker.net /blog test. Okay. Now, if you're using pretty URLs, I don't have it configured on this particular web server. But I'll show you what I think most people do use it. So what you would do without it, let's do without, then we'll do with pretty URLs. So we'll do post.php %permalink equals. Okay, now here, let's I'm gonna copy this and let's open up a new editor here. Okay, just so we can see this. All right, what was that? Close, whatever, doesn't want close. Okay, so this is the URL. How do I know that this is the URL? Okay, so if we go to the web page and we look at the URL, let's copy that, paste. All right, preview to, oh, apparently I did it right. Okay, so we have, again, every blog post is going to have this base to it. The only thing that's unique to it is at the end of the URL, we put in the permalink. Okay, and guess what? There's a macro for the permalink. So what we're going to do it now is, instead of typing in a macro, or instead of typing in the permalink, we're going to do %blog permalink. There we go. And actually needs these little doodads. Okay. So now what I can do is I'm going to copy that and we're going to put that inside of the URL. Hopefully that makes sense. So now I'm going to publish that. Let's refresh this page. Okay. And so now, here they are. Okay, so here I have my test blog post, which is what this is. Okay. I have the URL to my image. Okay, just to verify, let's copy that, paste that in. There is the image. Cool, that works. I have my description. And if it was using Hipwig, it's now just plain text. Done. And if we look at the URL, oh no. Oh, I spelled permalink wrong. Haha. Helps if you spell it right. Blog. Forgot the R. Permalink. There we go. Let's publish that again. Refresh. And there we go. So now I have my URL, and my canonical URL has permalink equals my test post. And if I were to copy that, right, and paste that into the browser, obviously that gets me the web page. Okay. So what if you're using pretty URLs? So if you're using pretty URLs, you would build this slightly differently. Let me fix that macro. Okay. Now let's say here, let's look at this bottom here. Let's move this up. Okay. So this is my URL to my blog post before. If you're using pretty URLs, it would look like that. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So essentially now we just need to analyze, okay, what in my URL is specific to a blog post? It's the ID right here. And we know how to get the ID. It's with that macro. So what I want to do is I would just replicate the URL, and where the ID goes, the macro goes. All right. So now I would take that and I would paste that into my settings. And if I were to publish that, and refresh, you'll see now my pretty URL, or my canonical URLs are the pretty URL version. Now I don't have pretty URLs. Again, I don't have it configured on this particular site, so that's not going to work for me. But if you were using pretty URLs, that's how you would do that. Then every single blog post will get its own dedicated canonical URL inside the meta tags. Okay. And with that, guys, pretty much done. I hopefully I didn't cause too many new gray hairs for you. Again, for blog posts, the simplest thing really is just utilize the one that's just built into Total CMS. It just does everything for you. Okay. But if you wanted control, let's say, I know some people, let's say for like the title, instead of having just the blog post, they want to put like, my blog dash, and then the blog title, right? Or something like that. If you wanted to do that, you can, right? With SEO Helper, right? Again, it's just putting in your static text, and you can mix and match these macros with your own text, and it will work. Just as we did in the URL, how we provided some of the URL ourselves, and then only the dynamic parts did we put in the macro that we needed. If you use the built-in tags, will it adjust for pretty URLs? If you use the built-in, yes, it will. Yes. So yes, if you use, because it knows whether or not you're using pretty URLs, the stack knows, because you would set this to be pretty. So it knows whether or not to make it pretty or not. Okay, so there we go. Good question. Let's see. Did I miss any others? Does open ground? Nope. I think I answered everything. Cool. So yeah. So that pretty much does it. I hope this was a decent explanation. I tried to go back down to the basics, so you guys kind of understand how everything works under the hood. Again, I think the macros confuse people. They scare people, but all it is just wherever you put that macro, it just takes the data from Total CMS and it puts it as if you were to type it statically, right? So yeah, and these the meta tags, you should have them on every web page. I know a lot of people don't. Yeah, also another good tip was staying away from just use user defined. If you're using SEO Helper, don't try to use the built-in Total CMS integration. it was a great idea at the time when I made it. I thought it was clever. Sometimes being clever is too confusing, right? So just stick with the user defined and use the macros. Okay. I think it's just best that way. Cool. Excellent, guys. Yeah, sweet. I think that's it for the day. I hope hopefully you learned something new, or if you didn't learn anything new, maybe just re-established your your knowledge that you are a know-it-all. Okay, guys. Sweet. I hope you have the great rest of your week, great rest of your day. Go out there and build something amazing. Make sure you come out on Friday to our hangouts and check out something new. I'm sure I got something new to share by Friday. I know we talked about Total CMS 1 today. Actually, a lot of what we shared today will still be applicable in Total CMS 3. The macros will just look different. Okay. But all the base knowledge that we learned today is identical in Total CMS 3. Again, it's just the syntax of the macros is vastly improved in my opinion. Okay. And yeah, good impact update. If you saw that email, that was a good update. Bento update as well this week. I'm actually probably going to send out an email maybe tomorrow about that. Just to everyone who doesn't know about Bento, not enough people know about Bento. I think it's a cool little stack, so start using it more. I really love the areas stack actually. It's for simpler things like I did in the Hangout last week. Yeah, it's really cool. And with the updates that I did this week with Bento 1.6, I think it's just a great little stack. And yeah, you can do some really cool stuff with it. Stuff that would be very difficult otherwise, relatively easily. So check out Bento as well. Cool, guys. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Friday at the Hangouts. If not, we'll see you on the community.